John Lamkin, it's been I can't overstate it, man. It's been such a wonderful pleasure being here with you today. I really appreciate your hospitality, particularly the times that we live in. And I just want to say thank you very much for inviting me in and telling these great stories about your life and music. As I mentioned earlier, you know, I've been around some wonderful musicians, but it's always a pleasure to be around people who can bring not only the musicianship but also the scholarship. And I really appreciate the time you allow me to spend with you.
No, I appreciate you. Thank you.
I kind of want you to get into, come into Baltimore and coming right into the music scene here.
Okay.
And tell me some of those stories.
Okay. So when my wife and I arrived in Baltimore, of course we didn't know anybody, and I didn't know that much about Baltimore. So the only way I knew to know anything about Baltimore was to go get my horn and go find the musicians, and that's what I did. I don't remember. I think the first club that I went to was the Sportsman's Lounge. And I remember my wife and I were there, and I was just enthralled with the music. And these were all local musicians, and they were playing what I had come up listening to in Atlantic City.
Yes.
You know, because there were a lot of organ groups in Atlantic City. The first time I tried to get on the bandstand and play was with an organ group in that little bar called Lou's Bar. So when I heard, it could have been, well, there were so many players. Sir Tom Hurley was playing, Mickey Fields, of course, and Johnny Plate on drums. I mean, it was a rich atmosphere of jazz musicians from Baltimore.
Right.
We're not talking about New York or Philly. These were guys right here. Homegrown. Bill Bird. And Carlos Johnson. And I remember being at the Sportsman's Lounge. And I'm going forward a little bit because, I began to get gigs in Baltimore at Sportsman's Lounge. I played the Sportsman's Lounge. As a matter of fact, around here somewhere there's some old nightlifers. Now the nightlifers were little papers.
The little booklets.
That's right, little booklets.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you got a gig, you want to get your name in the nightlifer, you know what I mean? So I got nightlifers around here with my name on it, playing at the Sportsman's Lounge, playing over here at the Closet. And the Closet was another one.
Mm-hmm.
I'd go in and sit in the Closet. I sat in with Gary Bartz over at the Closet,
Right, right.
As a matter of fact, I got a tune written for the Closet. They call it Baker's Closet.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to get another album out, another CD out. And this CD is going to pay homage to the Baltimore jazz scene then and now. And I wrote a tune for Pennsylvania Avenue. I called it The Avenue.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I called Carlos Johnson and I called Andy Ennis, and I asked him. I said, "Well, look, when you guys were coming up, what did they call Pennsylvania Avenue?" And they said, "It's just called The Avenue. You're going up on the Avenue." And so I wrote this tune called The Avenue. But yeah, there was a lot of places in town that I played. There was a club. Oh, it was a club where the Gatsby's is now on Charles Street. There was a club there, but it was before the Gatsby's, and that's where I met Natural Gas.
Mm-hmm.
Natural Gas was a band that I subsequently joined, but my wife and I were in a band before that.
Right.
It was called Theories of Reality, and the band director was also an educator. His name was Ruffy London. He was the band director at that time. He was the band director at Coppin. He had a band at Coppin, and so he hired me, and we had. Let's see. My wife was in the band. My wife's been in every band I've been in.
I bet. Yeah, that's your partner.
Every band, right? She's on this CD and she's on this album. I can't remember all the guys that were in that band at the time.
Give me the time frame around what years. And
Theories of Reality was probably that was the first band that I was in, as such. That probably was around 73, 74 or something like that. And then I met the guys in Natural Gas, and I sat in and played with them, and they liked the way I played, so I got in that band. And that band was a really working band because there was a guy who managed that band. His name was Irving Charles.
Yeah.
So he would have us playing all kinds of places. The Martin's West, we played there regularly.
Right.
There were a whole lot of bull roasts and a lot of places that we played.
Right. What were the charts like?
Well, we were top 40. We were top 40.
I understand. Yeah.
And so what we would do. And this is very interesting, and for me, it was like, the guys would go and they would put on a record and they would sit down and listen to the record, and that's how and I'm thinking, I'll just write it out for myself, and then when I come in, I'll be ready.
Exactly.
So I would write the charts out for myself, right? So they up there trying to, and I'm, okay, here it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's how that went down. But it was a very popular band.
Yeah.
Now, meanwhile, I'm still teaching. I'm teaching at Edmondson High School. And so, and I'm writing for the school band. I'm writing, we used to have, to raise money for the band and for the majorettes, we had something called the Majorette Talent Show and Review. Okay?
Wow.
And it featured the Edmondson High School Jazz Band backing all of these acts. We would have about, maybe 10, 11 acts, vocal acts. So I'd write all the charts for the band. They would come and rehearse, and it was like an Apollo show, man.
Incredible.
And as a matter of fact, out of that, I joined the band. I went down to the Union Hall, and the guys down there, they'd be practicing and whatnot. So I'd go down there every time that there was a rehearsal and sit in with the bands down there.
Right.
So I got a gig with Gene Walker. Gene Walker had a band called the Baltimore City Big Band. So I was in that band, okay? And then it was funny. It's how on maybe a Tuesday night, what's his name? Rip Stone had a band. And so I'd go down there and sit in with his band, and then on Thursday night it was Gene Walker's band, and you could see the difference between the two bands. And so I'd go down there and sit in and play with those guys. And then Gene Walker got a city contract, and so all had to be in the union, and we all had to, we all got paid through the city. And at that time, the band would play every Sunday, man, from Memorial Day to Labor Day down at the War Memorial Plaza.
Wow.
Every Sunday we played, And the band was a great band.
Yeah, and you would get large crowds.
Oh yeah,
people would come out.
Oh yeah, they come out and sit and listen to the band.
Yeah.
Brenda Alford sang in the band. One of my students from Edmondson High School sang in the band because I had charts for the band. So I told him, I said, look, I got some vocal charts, and this young lady, she's from Edmondson High School, she can sing. So I brought her in, and so she fronted the band for a few years. Eartha came and sat in and got the gig with the band. So that's the way, man, look, Baltimore was happening. Clubs, okay, definitely the Sportsman's. We played at the Sportsman's a lot. We played at Bryce's Hilltop Inn,
Mm-hmm.
We played at, Lydell Mitchell had a club. It was called the Point After. And that was down on Monroe Street, down just before you get to is that New Shiloh on the corner?
The church.
The church, yeah. Before you get there, on the right, there was his club, Lydell Mitchell. We played there. There was a club all the way on the east side called the Scorpio Lounge or something, Scorpio something. We played over there. We played the Gatsby's. The Gatsby's was the downstairs was a dance thing. Upstairs was jazz. I mean, we played there a lot, man. I mean, there was a place across. Well, there was a place called the Wall Street Lounge that I ran a jam session there, and this was during the time I was at UMES. The jam session was on Sunday, so I would do the jam session, run home, get into bed. It's Monday morning, I'm getting up, driving down to UMES, right?
Incredible.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh man. And making the Bay Bridge, tired and whatnot, and teach my classes, and then had band practice afterwards because I had the jazz band, you know. And the jazz band class was usually on Monday and Wednesday, you know, at 7 o'clock in the evening. And so, yeah, man. So the Baltimore scene was happening, man. We you know, and then I played in D.C. You know, there was a band. Well, it's funny. I was walking or riding my bicycle, I don't know, up here near Peabody, and I hear this jazz band. Mm-hmm. I'm like, dang, jazz band, let me go find out what's happening. So I go up there, and they're actually playing, you know, so I introduce myself and tell them, you know, I'd like to sit in and play. So I sat in and I played with the Peabody Jazz Band, and that year they brought in U.B. Blake. So who was in the band when they brought in U.B. Blake? And we backed U.B. Blake, you know.
Yeah, and he must have been in
his 80s. Then,
yeah,
guess, you know?
Yeah. I was gonna say he's probably in his early 90s. Possibly.
He could have been. Yeah, because he was pretty frail.
Yeah,
at that time.
Yeah, but he could play.
He got that piano. You know. And then the offshoot of that band was a band called the Washington Jazz Battalion over in D.C. So I'd go back and forth and play with those guys, man. And, you know, and then, you know, reading charts and whatnot, mm-hmm. You know, and still teaching.
Right,
If I had a gig on Sunday, I would make the gig. I wouldn't turn down no gigs, right? I'd make the gig and I'd come back over and teach them, you know, go back to work.
Yeah.
Monday, well, I don't know how I did it, man.
But, you know, you in all that you talked about, there were two things that you brought up, and I kind of want you to speak a little bit about. You talked about writing charts and teaching, and I just want you to really talk about how important the scholarship and the musicianship, how important is that combination? Because, you know, you're an educator, so how important is incorporating the scholarship and the musicianship?
Today, it's ultra important. You know, today it's nothing like it used to be. Now, here's why I say that. See, and I came in on the tail end of it. You know, in Atlantic City, when I came in, this is the 1960s. Okay, you know, because again, being born in '45, by 1960, I'm 15. Okay. All right, so, you know, Charlie Parker and those guys, that was in the 1940s.
Right.
You see what I mean? So I'm kind of like on the tail end of all that stuff.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So now, you know, going forward, I began to see the change from sitting down in a basement with a record on, trying to learn, to writing your own charts and reading your own charts. Today, you got these guys who are wonderful musicians and wonderful educators working at some of the most prestigious colleges, turning out some of the greatest musicians ever.
Right.
See, so
right.
I've seen that. So when you say the relationship between musicianship and scholarship, it's all around you today. Take any one of these musicians that are out there now, starting from Wynton Marsalis and that whole band, the Lincoln Center Orchestra, you know, all these young guys, Christian McBride.
Right.
You know.
Right.
You mentioned Donald Harrison.
Donald Harrison.
All these guys.
Cyrus Chestnut.
Steve
Carrington.
Look.
Yes.
I played with Cyrus Chestnut at the 2300 down on Baltimore Street, right? I used to go over and sit in and play. I got a gig at the Birdcage. Birdcage was down on North Avenue. The building is there, but Birdcage is long gone. The guy who owned the Birdcage, or ran the Birdcage, opened up a club on Pennsylvania, on Baltimore Street, down on I guess West Baltimore Street, not down by the club.
What year was this? Give me a period.
I think it was before. Was it before I went to the UMES? I think it might have been before, but I don't remember. Okay. This was shortly after Cyrus graduated from Berkeley.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So he's a young man.
You're talking about in the 80s.
In the 80s.
Yes.
Right. So I might have been down to UMES. I don't know. But the guys would come out and sit in and play with me, man. And I had a band down there. Let me see. John played on that gig. So
now, when you say John, be more specific.
I'm talking about my son.
Okay.
I gotta tell you about that.
We gotta.
I gotta tell you about that.
We gotta get him in this conversation.
Yeah. Oh man, look. Let me tell you. Yeah. So Cyrus. So anyway, we're talking about that musicianship scholarship. Now Cyrus, is at Howard.
He's teaching there now.
Yeah, he's teaching there now.
Yeah.
Alan Johnson. is at
University of District of Columbia.
UDC. I mean, these guys,
wonderful pianists,
wonderful scholars.
Yes, right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
That's where the music is.
Yeah.
That's what's happening today. You still have guys who sit down and put on a record and try to but that's long gone, man.
Yes,
that is
absolutely.
long gone, and
absolutely.
that's I came through that, but let me tell you this: when I was in high school, I was writing charts.
Incredible.
I was writing charts. Look, I became enamored with Arne Coleman.
Yeah,
because Arne Coleman didn't have no piano player. He had he had bass, drums, saxophone, and trumpet. That was it.
Right.
So I said, okay, let me find a saxophone player, and I found a bass player and a drummer. Y'all come over to my garage, and we write some charts, and we'll play.
Wow.
And the thing with him, with Arne Coleman was, you didn't have to write no changes. Just write a melody.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what I did. I'd write melodies, maybe a couple of changes for the bass player, and that was it. And so let's play. That's what we did, man.
Wow.
That's what we did. We had jam sessions in my garage. We weren't playing we were playing originals.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what I'm saying is that has been what I have been doing. So when I got the gig with Natural Gas, and those guys were sitting around, trying to get this stuff off the record. I'd take the record home and I'd write it out real quick, and I'd come in, I have my charts, I'd be ready to play. That's what happened when I got the gig at with Luther Ingram. I was in Luther Ingram's band. You remember Loving You Was Wrong?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was in that band. I was in that road band.
Wow.
Who wrote the charts for the band? John Russell Lamkin II.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So this has been such an amazing. Now, can I go to part 5 just a little bit?
Okay, all right.
A little bit, and then we'll close it out.
Okay.
But I just want to say again, it's been an incredible journey hearing the history of the music in here in Baltimore, listening to your history, listening to the incorporation between scholarship and musicianship, which I think is very, very important. Which is I'm really happy that you've been able to give me that time. And so we're going to stop here, and we'll continue with part 5.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay.